Hey guys, it's your girl, Miss Little Ho. I'm coming to you straight out of NYC on this Saturday morning. I want us to briefly talk about Kanye West's White House visit, and I'm going to say a couple of things. Number one, this is not the Kanye West that you met in 2002, 2003, 2004. He is not the person that we thought he would become. He is the person that we didn't think would ever happen. He met Donald Trump at the White House on Thursday. And it was a show within a show within a show within a show. It was very entertaining on a weird level, sort of like a reality show, kind of train wreck. But I gotta say, and I never thought I would say this, he kind of held his own. So, the New York Times reports the whole White House visit. And it says Kanye West's White House rant steals Trump's spotlight. It says, after a week of extensive interviews, repetitive rally speeches, and a torrent of tweets, President Trump, a fan of a good media spectacle, temporarily ceded the glare of the spotlight on Thursday to someone even more comfortable with it, Kanye West. In a visit to the White House for what was ostensibly a working lunch to discuss workforce training programs, sentencing reforms, and African-American employment, Mr. West wore a Make America Great Again hat, an accessory he said made him feel like Superman, and delivered a 10-minute soliloquy to Mr. Trump, the news media, and anyone judging his decision to support the president. Trump is on his hero's journey right now, Mr. West said. He might not have thought he'd have a crazy person like me, he said, using an expletive to describe himself. In the past, Mr. West has been an outspoken critic of politicians. In 2005, he lashed out at a sitting president on live TV over his efforts to assist Hurricane Katrina victims, saying George Bush don't care about black people. On Thursday, a storm was still battering the East Coast, but Mr. West was busy bonding with Mr. Trump over their shared delight in subverting and offending crowds. Mr. West has in recent days drawn a large amount of criticism for his decision to corner the cast members of Saturday Night Live and deliver a pro-Trump speech off camera. Amid the backlash, Mr. West deleted his social media accounts but found a friendly reception in the Oval Office. What I need Saturday Night Live it to improve on, or the liberals to improve on, Mr. West said, is if he don't look good, we don't look good. As a wall of journalists and senior advisors looked on, the president, a consummate showman not accustomed to sharing the camera, seemed to marvel at Mr. West's ability to command the room. Mr. West, for his part, praised the president for stopping the war with North Korea. In parentheses, there was none. Said Mr. Trump solved one of the biggest problems on day one. Spoke of being misdiagnosed with bipolar disorder. He claims it was sleep deprivation. And said that Mr. Trump has given him a Superman cape to be a force for good. You are tasting a fine wine, Mr. West said, praising himself. It has complex notes to it. At one point, Mr. West pulled out his iPhone to show the president a few illustrations of a hydrogen-powered plane that he said could replace Air Force One. Look at this, Jared, Mr. West said to the president's son-in-law and senior advisor, Jared Kushner, as he presented him with the drawings of his idea, the I-Plane One. I'm done. I can't. I'm done. But I got to continue. Well, we'll get rid of Air Force One, the president replied. Can we get rid of Air Force One? All the while, Mr. Trump sat with his hands clasped on the resolute desk, nodding along as the musician continued. When Mr. West touched on the plight of a 68-year-old prisoner he planned to discuss with the president, Mr. Trump seemed not to recognize the man's name when he mentioned it. Really, the reason why they imprisoned him is because he started doing positive work for the community. He started showing that he actually had the power. Mr. West said, so there's theories that there's infinite amounts of universe and there's alternate universe. Mr. West's speech ended. Then Mr. Trump was left momentarily and uncharacteristically speechless as advisors, including Mr. Kushner and Ivanka Trump, looked on. Ms. Trump wore a wide smile while Mr. Kushner pressed his hands into the handles of his chair. I'll tell you what, Mr. Trump said, that was pretty impressive. Mr. West agreed. It was from the soul. the musician said. I just channeled it. Seated near Mr. West was Jim Brown, the former Cleveland Browns running back. Mr. Brown, who had supported the president in the past, barely got a word in. I'm here to serve, Mr. Brown said when the president asked him how he felt. Oh, Lord Jesus, this is a hot mess. I mean, he did hold his own, but it's still a hot mess. And honestly, I'm going to be real with you. I'm not really shocked so much at Kanye, but I'm actually more shocked at Jim Brown. And forgive me for taking, deep breaths and everything, but I gotta just say this. When you have a man that wore a kufi that was red, black, and green, which is the RBG colors, to say to a president that you wouldn't rock with back in the day, you say, I'm here to serve you, that tells you a lot about him as a person. A lot of people think this man got dementia. I just think this is how he could have felt the whole time, or maybe he wants to get into fitting. But I'm going to talk about Kanye. Kanye West had a psychotic breakdown. And a lot of it had to do with pain from his mother, bad relationships. I think Amber Rose took a toll. I also think the whole situation with Taylor Swift and him being picked on and having the sitting president, Obama, call him a jackass, really made him feel angry. He was one of the few celebrities who are high profile that didn't get a chance to be in the White House. Jay-Z and Beyonce were his friends, and he took a bullet for Beyonce. He risked his career, and he said Beyonce tried to block him from getting an award. These are things that are serious. I don't agree with what Kanye West did to an extent, but he wants to be, and he wants to receive and have those perks that he didn't get. And he wants that attention, and he never got it from Obama. But yet and still, he's from Chicago. He donated to his campaign, him and his mom. And Obama snubbed him. So that's his whole way of getting back at all the people that picked on him when he was around during Obama. So this is his way of paybacking. Now, do I think to an extent he agrees with some of the policies that Trump is making? Yeah, I do. But he's only looking out for Chicago. He's not looking out for New York. He's not looking out for LA. He's not looking out for Atlanta. He's looking out for Chicago. His people, which would make sense. But this is the thing. I think that it's good to meet with somebody if you're going to try to get something done. The problem is that people hate this man to a point of them wanting to scream at the top of their lungs. This hate is real deeper than George W. Bush. And Kanye West does not care. Kanye West is having the time of his life with this. This is fun. This is like child's play for him. But at the end of the day, what's all said and done, and I'm going to keep it real, what happens when he's no longer in office? You understand? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What happens after that? You still got to come back to the community. Will the community accept you? And that's the thing that we have to wait and see. And it's going to be real interesting. So my take on this visit is that it was bizarre, entertaining. He made some good points about Chicago, the hydrogen bomb. But he did say one thing that really ruffled a lot of people's feathers, and that was he dismissed the notion of police brutality and said that it's mostly black on black crime in Chicago. And we all know that to an extent, most of the murders are made by each other, but it's something that you don't do, and he got off cold. And with that being said, I would love to see how 2024 plays out. He says he's thinking about running for president. I say he better pump his brakes and not do that shit. But more importantly, will the community accept him afterwards? And more than likely, I think it's going to be a no. So in that case, this is your girl, Miss Anna Little Hall. I'm signing off. I'm going to get ready to go to work. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. Take care. Follow me on Spreaker. Subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell. Share the video. And I'll talk to you later. Take care.